Hey guys, it's Spacey Sims, and we are back with more Cupid Parasite. And continuing Alan's route. It's been a couple days for me because it was a weekend. So we're now a new college student again, and okay, so we've met him again, and I'm curious if he's just gonna let the love happen, or if we're gonna have to, you know, reincarnate a couple times. Be kind of interesting, actually, because we're never going to totally forget you, Alan. Just get over it. Get used to it. But also, we're like 20 now, as opposed to like, when we were like 24 or 25 or something. I don't know. We were a little bit older. So, like, I was like, let us age up a little bit, okay? I don't know. It's just weird for me. Like, now it's weird. It's like, really? Really? Now we're going there? Anyway. Well, now you can look at him. There you go. I put my hands on top of my head as I reached a safe distance where I could look back at her. She looked so sad when she said she wanted to go to the beach. I couldn't help but ask her out. I know I shouldn't get near her, but all I want to do is make her wishes come true. For as long as I can remember, I've always wanted to take care of her more than anything else. It is kind of like adorably sweet, though. Like you just didn't really expect this to come out of Alan, in his route. Like, to just like, oh, that's so cute. I don't know. From the very first moment. And even back then, she was the one to mention things like that first. Maybe it was because I could remember all the things she'd done in the past. Thinking about those bygone days brought fresh pain to my heart. One more time. Just one more time. After I take you to the beach, you'll never see me again. Lies. So please forgive me. I stared down at the ground in deep remorse. I had no idea who I was asking for forgiveness from. Lies. Last time I asked. After I left the cafe, I was walking through the streets of the city. There was a skip in my step as I was looking so forward to the promised beach date. I'm so happy. I was just so elated to be going to the beach with him. I had no idea why I wanted to go with someone I'd never met before so badly. For some reason, I felt I'd be safe from drowning with Guilty there. After all, he's the person who saved me from that dark cloud. He feels so familiar to me somehow. His eyes are so gentle, too. For some reason, I feel closer to him than even my parents. I wonder why. Because it's been multiple lifetimes that you've been in love with him. It's kind of cute. If there's such a thing as past lives, maybe we were together there. I mean, okay, she's spot on. Girl. This must be what they call love at first sight. As I was walking, I heard a cheer go up. I looked back and saw a wedding taking place. A woman in a shining white dress was tossing the bouquet. Flower petals fell around her. I wonder what happened to Shelby, who's now 50, right? Like, oh, she's remembering shit. Huh? A memory from some unknown past flashed through my brain, like a mirage during the day. This is like the past life, not like our one that we experienced, the one she experienced that we knew nothing about. It was like a daydream where someone I didn't know was making a flower crown for me. I'm cheerfully walking forward with my hands clasped in front of me, wearing a gorgeous flower crown. Maybe they were both like angels and then like we weren't supposed to fall in love or some shit. I don't know. Placing rings made of petals on each other's fingers. Oh! This is gonna hurt. Acting like it's a real wedding. So cute. But like one out of a school children's play. But where could this be? I felt shaken by the memories and had to brace myself against a nearby building. What was that? And also it was on the beach. So like, and that's kind of what we flash back to when he stabbed us, right? Was like that weird crystals in the beach thing. So it's like, you know, It must have been from when I was a child, but I don't recognize the other person. But it felt like such a nostalgic moment. It gave me a sharp desire to go back. But go back to where? To Alan, because he's your home. Wherever he is. Ooh! I'm not meant to be on stage. Okay, curious what that has to do with this. The promised Sunday came. Guilty and I arrived at the beach. Wow! It'd be so funny if all of a sudden she just calls him Alan once and then is like, wait. Oh, hi! I guess you're in your bathing suit, sexy. Are you trying to tempt us to you? Because this is going to help. But I don't think that's what you want. I mean, yes, deep down inside that's what you want, but like, you're trying to have us avoid you, but this is not going to help us not to want you, you know? Like, anyway. Oh, hey! It's dangerous to run like that. You should warm up first. I know. We stretched out together and ran toward the waves. I was wearing my swimsuit so that I could fully enjoy the water. It's weird you have a bathing suit if you never go in the water. I mean, isn't it? I don't know. I felt the waves on my feet and smelled the scent of the sea. Unless you go to the beach, but you never go in the water, but then you're like, but every time I get near the water, I almost drown, so I'd kind of be traumatized about going to the beach. I'm just saying. It feels so good. The water was cold, and the sands being dragged out by the waves under my soles felt ticklish. As the briny breeze ruffled my hair, my mind finally processed that I was at the beach. It's the sea. It's been so long. The last time I visited the sea was when I nearly drowned as a child. Stop! You don't scream like that! From the distant horizon, I feel both endless possibility and terrifying uncertainty that I might lose everything. If I let myself get distracted for even a second, I'm sure I'm going to get dragged down. I crouch down in the surf and mix the sand with my fingertips. I can smell the ocean. I mean, yeah, you're at the ocean, so. I pick up a fallen shell and toss it into the sea. Suddenly, the bracelet on my wrist came into view. Oh no, I forgot to take off the bracelet! When I tried to slide it from my wrist, a shadow fell over me. Please don't take that off. Guilty placed his hand softly over my hand. It's nice that you're taking care of it, but it's better for you to keep wearing it. And then you're like, you! Huh? But it's made out of rubber, so it might snap and break. Don't worry, it won't break so easily. Lots of heart was put into it. He made it in our past life. The second past life, not the first one that we don't really remember. How strange. Did he know the person who made the bracelet? I wanted to ask him, but I couldn't find it within myself to do so. Also, he's only a few years older than you technically here. What, actually? Wait, is he like 28? Is that what his thing said? I don't remember his profile sheet, but he couldn't have known. He would have been a child. But you know what I mean? She was like, you must have known the person who made that would make no sense unless. Like, it makes absolute sense because he's like immortal, but like it also shouldn't make sense to her. Come on, we're at the beach, so try moving over here instead of sticking to the shallows. Okay. I stood up and stepped in further into the water. Looking out at the sea, I was excited, but also a little afraid. I couldn't help but worry about getting dragged down again. Thinking about what invisible hands might be waiting for me in there, I started to shiver. Here, and take my hand. The not invisible ones. Guilty noticed that I was afraid and reached out for me. I nervously grabbed his hand. Okay. It'll be fine. Guilty's with me. With my heart pounding, I slowly walked toward the deeper side. The water came up to my ankles, then my knees, and my hips. I'm scared. What should I do if I start drowning again? I closed my eyes, guided only by Guilty's hand, and stepped deeper into the water. Then he suddenly lifted me up. Oh my god, do we get a CG of this? No. Huh? Damn it. When I opened my eyes, I saw that he was using both of his arms to carry me. He was lifting my head above his at a height I wasn't used to. I grasped onto his shoulders so I didn't fall. Here, it's not scary anymore, right? Guilty was lifting me up like how a father would for a child. It wasn't intimate or sensual or anything like that, so it just made me smile naturally. Yeah, I don't feel afraid anymore. As long as he held me, I knew I didn't have to worry about that dark cloud
or getting dragged beneath the waves. I'd never felt so comfortable before. It almost made me cry. The feeling was totally different from Guile, Guile, Gil, Gil, Austin, or even Clarice. Gil, not Gil. I have no idea. Like, I'm sure it's not supposed to be Guile, but it's probably supposed to be Gil. It's some kind of French fucking name, but I can't do that. I don't do French, yo. I felt so secure, I discovered I was able to relax with no problem. With Guilty by my side, I knew everything would be all right. Actually, I feel like because it's like guilty, and he's like, Gil, yeah, guilty, and other Gil is Guile. It's still Gil as well, but it's fucking a weird way of spelling Gil. Why would you name your child after your crazy brother? You're like, my brother is a little like, just gonna name my kid after him. Like, at that point, when Gil 2.0 was born, Gil's brother knew he was motherfucking. He's like, yeah, he keeps claiming that his long lost love, who was never in love with him, by the way, got spirited away. I mean, kind of, but like, Gil isn't wrong. But I mean, everybody must think he's goddamn crazy. And then you're like, yeah, I'm gonna name my kid after him. Just, nah, like, I don't know. You don't name your kid after the crazy person in the family. It's like, I mean, maybe it's slightly superstitious, but you're like, yeah, let's just not take any chances. Anyway, we'll spell it different. It'll be fine. Like Brittany with the K. Don't know where the K is going, but it's okay. Anyway, the sea is so amazing. With all these waves, it's totally different from a pool. My legs floated through the rippling water. The sensation was so interesting, I wiggled my legs back and forth.
Why don't you try peeking in the water next? I think you'll like what you see.
In the water? I looked down at the ocean with my hands clutching his shoulders. The surface of the water was glittering in the sunlight so beautifully, I let out a gasp. It's so beautiful. I never realized just how clear the water around Lost York could be. Hey, over there! There's a fish!
So there is.
Guilty's laugh caused his shoulders to bob. His radiant smile filled my heart with joy. This hurts, though. Like, I know everything's gonna be okay, and we're gonna, like, fall in love with him and remember everything, all of our lives. This one, the past one, and the one before that, you know, us as the reader have no clue about. But, like, it's still just in the moment, it kind of just hurts knowing that, like, yeah, we're just living our life, and freaking Alan's over here, like, kind of pining away a little. It just hurts. I hurt for Alan. Like, I know it's gonna be okay, but in the moment, you're just like, no, the pain. This moment of pain. Anyway.
The coral out here is beautiful, too. Do you want to dive and see?
Yes? As I nodded, Guilty gently let me down. And then he took my hand and gently kissed the bracelet on my wrist. The parted lips made me pause. He just kissed my bracelet, but I can feel my entire body pounding.
It's so you don't drown.
I didn't understand how that would help. Also, I didn't understand why he was so concerned with the bracelet. Guilty then took the goggles as if nothing happened.
The salt water will sting your eyes, so put these goggles on.
He was taking care of me like he would for a small child. I mean, he has been watching you since you were a baby, which is a little weird, but also, I guess kind of not, because he knew you like several lifetimes ago. He was like, I knew you went, and then all of a sudden I found you again later in a different life when you were an adult, and then now I've been watching you since a baby. So it's a little odd, but also kind of not. But it's like 98% not, and there's like 2% slightly odd about it. But just like from a long time ago. Huh. What do I mean by a long time ago? I like how she's confusing herself. You ever do that? You're like something, and you're like, wait, that doesn't make any sense. I thought about it for a second, then just shrugged, put my goggles on, and dove in. Yeah, you could overthink it later. Wow. Going beneath the waves was like entering a different world. Fish of all shapes and colors were swimming in and out of the coral. So beautiful. So she must have always, every time she went to the beach, took the bracelet off, trying to protect it, and then would almost get drowned. I looked over at Guilty and our eyes met. He was obviously having as much fun as I was. His kind, compassionate eyes seemed as if he was looking at a beloved family member, eyes that I had fallen in love with. Since we were underwater, I couldn't say anything, but I reached out for him. When I touched his arm, a feeling like a bolt of electricity ran through me, a feeling of connection deeper than that of a feeling of connection deeper than that of any pair of lovers. It was like a single soul had been split in two. There we are. We're like the angels that share like the cups. There you go. His lips moved as if he was trying to say something. I could see bubbles escaping and making their way up to the surface. Although I am curious why they put in his story the whole thing about like Cupid falling in love with Psyche. You know what I mean? If that wasn't like, you know what I mean? Like throwing it in there in Raoul's route makes sense because he's a mythology nerd and like you'd have all sorts of different Cupid rumors and all that shit and all the backstories and all that crap coming out with him, right? And then it also leads to like, wait, I don't remember that. Oh, it's because it was a different Cupid, you know? So that makes sense. But then it doesn't. So like bringing it up in Alan's route maybe is just like a red herring. They're throwing that out there so that's where you think it's going to go because I mean, it could still go there, but now I'm starting to think if after 400 years or whatever, that's the lifespan of a lower level god like Cupid, and then they're like, poof, gone. He wouldn't have ever been Cupid, where, you know what I mean? That could have been us in a past life. So, plus they're definitely pushing hard on the whole, like, look at these two mugs with one winged angel. Oh, they're like meant to be a pair. And then, like, he only has one wing, and then we were in the thing. So, like, they're kind of going that angle, and that's where I feel like they're going with it. It's just curious that they brought up the Cupid and Psyche thing. Unless, of course, it was just because, like, they were like, ah, foreshadowing that she's going to prick her finger and fall in love with Alan. Whoops. You know, I guess. Wasn't a necessity for that to be in there. I don't know. But it does kind of also throw you slightly off. So, I guess it had a purpose. You know, slight foreshadowing also making you think it's going one way when it's kind of going sort of that way, but not exactly. But so then were we like both like one winged angels and then he like what and then us falling in love was bad and then they made him a demon and they took me away and made me Cupid? Because otherwise if they made us both demons then we'd be like, all right, that's fine, we can still be together. But this way was their way to separate us for 400 years. That's mean. That's fucking rough, man. Does also explain because he said something about getting us back or like whatever, wanting to get back at the gods and get to Celestia and all that. Okay, I mean, all right, okay, cool. Anyway, I could see bubbles escaping and making their way up to the surface. It felt as if he called my name. Not my current name, but my true name. Yeah, the original one. Not prior Spacey, but whatever we were before Spacey. The sun was shining bright as I surfaced to breathe. Phew!
How was it? Was it fun?
I looked over at Guilty and saw him smiling as he ran his fingers through his hair. It was a different expression than before. The kind of look he only makes when he's off in the distance. Yes, without a doubt it was fun, but I also felt like I was so close to figuring something out. So I just scooped up a handful of water and tossed it at him. Because I want him to be his true self. Here! Whoa! Did I surprise you? I'm going to splash you until you surrender to me.
How cute. Sure, let's play. I will go easy.
He gave me a wry smile and then splashed water back at me. That was cold! Why you... It really was cold and pretty salty, but it was still a lot of fun. The water sparkled as it flew through the air and reflected the sun. You can, because you've watched enough freaking anime of beach scenes, you can picture the sparkling of the ocean and this. You can picture this happening in your head, can't you? Wow. We've all watched too much anime, and yet at the same time, not enough. I realized that I didn't fear the sea anymore. We played to our heart's content. I enjoyed the sea as if I was making up for all that lost time. We ate the sandwiches Guilty had bought on the way here, then played in the sea for the rest of the day. Before long, the sun started to close in on the horizon.
Aww.
Pretty green and peach. The ocean's just as beautiful at sunset as it is during the day, maybe even a little bit prettier. As the evening cool settled in, we got out of the water, got dressed, and started walking along the beach together. That's an awful lot to put on at the beach. Like, shirt, and then he's got his whole collar thing, and then hooking the chains up, and then the fuzzy vest. Like, Alan, that's a bit much. You could have just gone with like a slightly more casual beach outfit. That would have mean they had to draw multiple sprites. The sand made a pleasant sound as it crunched beneath our feet. I don't want to go home. I want to stay here and look at the sea forever.
So, how was it? Are you scared of the sea today?
Nope. The gentle tone of voice told me just how kind Guilty really was. It wasn't scary. It was beautiful. It was fun. Well, definitely wasn't scary. It was beautiful and it was fun. It was fun. No, thanks to you, I was able to have a lot of fun today.
I'm happy to hear you had a good time.
Yay. I probably didn't get a leg cramp or didn't get dragged into the water thanks to him. However, I couldn't explain why I felt as though I would find myself in constant danger if he left.
Look, the sun's setting.
I looked up and saw the red sun slowly dropping to the horizon. The sunset made the surface of the water glitter and shine. Suddenly, the memory of those hands came flooding back, and the white flower crown and the entire pretend wedding. I think I must have put on a wedding here when I was a kid. I was just mumbling to myself when I heard a sharp gasp from behind me. Huh? I realized I was being hugged from behind. The hands in front of me were shaking. What's happening to what's happening to poor quote unquote guilty poor Alan? Behind me, I could hear heavy breaths trying to hold back sobs. Oh, because he was thinking he has to leave. He was like, oh, sweetie. Clenching his teeth, Guilty was grunting softly with the effort, enduring an anguish I couldn't see. You might be remembering when he stabbed me on this beach that time, because... Was that Guilty? A young man from my memory who doesn't look like him at all, but that look in his eyes is eerily similar. A memory I'd had for the first time. What was that? It almost feels like a memory from a dream. A memory outside of reality, or another life when you were like a fucking angel or some shit. I felt love, loneliness, and frustration all at the same time. The frustration was from feeling like I couldn't quite remember something and getting impatient as a result. I could tell this was something I didn't want to forget, but still I couldn't quite remember it. He eventually let me go.
Sorry, I didn't mean to hug you so suddenly.
It's all right. I didn't want an apology, just an explanation. Why did he hug me? 'Cause he's into you, girl. I'm just kidding. I mean, obviously there is a lot of other shit behind it, but I turned around to ask him, but when I saw his face, I couldn't bring myself to do it, because he looked like he was about to start crying. I could tell he didn't want to hear the question, so I just smiled and said nothing. Most likely, I love him, because he makes me feel nostalgic and a good kind of strange. Maybe my friends wouldn't call that love, but I can't deny that I'm attracted to him. I wanted to tell him he didn't have to cry. I wanted to hug him and help him carry his burden of loneliness. Maybe these feelings would be better described as protection or fondness. But whatever you call it, it's definitely love. It has to be. Thank you for keeping me company today, Guilty. Because of you, I wasn't afraid of the water, and it's been a long time since I felt that way. Thank you so much.
Good. I'm glad.
Guilty looked as though he wanted to say something. But I could tell that what he said next wasn't what he truly wanted to say.
Well, let's get going.
I decided I shouldn't be selfish and tell him I'd be lonely if we went our separate ways now, because I didn't want to cause any trouble for him or make him look sad. Yeah, let's go back. I took his offered hand and we began our journey back. Before long, the sun had dropped beyond the horizon. I should be okay from here.
Are you sure?
Yes, my home's nearby. I wonder if he'll stop by. If I asked someone I just met to come back to my place, would Gil be mad? Gil? Gil? We're going to say Gil with a French accent or some kind of weird accent. I don't know. But I should at least make him some coffee to show my appreciation. All kinds of thoughts were whirling through my head, and I suddenly froze up. I couldn't say anything. It seemed like Guilty really did want to leave. He acted really uncomfortable and took a step back, so I gave him a quick bow and said goodbye. Thanks so much for everything today.
Well, I'll be going now.
I waved my hands and watched Guilty walk away, never to be seen or heard from again. I mean, lies, but I watched his receding back until he finally left. 2 days later, she's still just standing in the same spot. We sigh a lot as Alan.
I entered the store's first floor of the house, threw my keys on the counter, and sat down on the bed. I infused power into the bracelet today, so I shouldn't have to watch her closely. And besides, it was a fun day. I wish this could last forever. But the sun set and the day ended. I wanted to be alone to accept that. Spacey. I didn't realize how painful it was to leave her behind. She looked as though she wanted to converse with me more, and I wanted to indulge her. But if I gave in to my desires again, then all my efforts would have been useless. I love her. I want to be with her and take care of her. However, those selfish wants would just be a hindrance to my goal. I'm an idiot.
Oh. Yes, you are.
I looked up and noticed glowing eyes in the dark. It was Clarice. Were you watching me?
Yeah, I saw you getting carried away with her. You said you'd stay away and watch.
If I got close to her and provoked her, she might regain her memories. I intended to stay away from her to prevent that. Reclaiming memories from a previous life, and that would lead the soul from this life replacing the previous one.
Lead to the soul from this life replacing the previous one. Reclaiming memories from a previous life would lead to the soul from this life replacing the previous one. So if she, how, that doesn't sound like logical. So if she remembers her past life, the soul in this life would replace the prior one. Then it's almost like, oh, but if she doesn't remember, then Spacey B, who we are right now, will still be Spacey B. But if she remembers Spacey A, then Spacey A will disappear and she'll be Spacey B. Wouldn't that just be the outcome either way? That doesn't make any sense. I don't know. Yeah, okay, that's what it sounds like it should have said. Reclaiming memories from a previous life, that would lead to the soul from this life being replaced by the previous one is what it should say, not replacing the previous one. The previous life would replace this one. That makes more sense, but okay, so they translated that weird, I think. Anyway.
Which means she'd probably revert back to her previous life as Cupid and become a god again. And that's just how miraculous her life as a human has been. Even a slight change in balance and she could become Cupid again. That's the true power of the soul of a god. I understood all that all too well. I know. I'm going to make sure I never appear before her again.
That's a wise decision. If she regains the memories of her life as Cupid, she might well be forced to return to Celestia.
And if that happens, it really is all over. She'll have to work as Cupid until the day she disappears for good. I can't let that happen, and that's why I won't get near her.
Unless she remembers her previous life. Or, Jupiter's gonna actually be nice about it. Because, I'm just saying. We know how it's gonna work.
The moment I entertained the thought of never meeting her ever again, I felt a pain so raw it made me consider death as a sweet relief. Or, it made me consider death a sweet relief.
Sorry, I should have read that right.
It hurt so much. No, why can't I meet her? I was searching for her for so long, and I was finally able to meet her. I'm an idiot. I never felt this kind of emotion when I was searching for her. I wanted to protect her like a father or a brother. I had no thoughts of ever approaching her. Where did this sudden desire to indulge my emotions and be with her come from? It probably started when I fell in love with her thanks to Cupid's bow. Everything started going crazy at that moment. Loving and being loved was such a fulfilling feeling. I totally lost sight of my objective. No, that's not quite right. I had no idea how dangerous these emotions could be in the first place. From the day I fell and became a demon, I've been ignoring all emotion. So I had no clue that I wouldn't be able to control them once I did start feeling them. Spacey.
Hey, stop screaming down there. I can hear you. You know where I am. You need to learn to fly upstairs. Stop that. You do not scream like that. No. Use bad bird.
Every time I called out her name, the pain surged in my body. Spacey. I need to let my love go. Spacey. I love you, which is why I have to kill off my own emotions. I know. I'll never appear before her ever again. I once again muttered this promise to myself. Clarice had no words left to say.
Clarice, not being the friend we need or deserve right now. Looking for lost time. Oh! Jupiter is kind of hot, I'm not gonna lie. Jupiter, what? Juno isn't here! I feel like I don't remember the voice we had Jupiter in the very beginning, and he can't be Peter's voice, so we're just gonna, I don't know anyway. She's always been quite carefree. I heard she was down in the human realm, but we're just gonna give him kind of number.
Her aura disappeared and her divine artifacts returned to us.
Mercury is just randomly around somewhere. Anyway, the goddess of marriage has disappeared. Not just Cupid, but now even Juno? This is a more concerning situation. We must deal with it immediately. Ooh, who kidnapped Juno? A week's passed since the trip to the beach. I tilted my head as I looked at my phone. No reply yet. Last week I sent Guilty an email, but I hadn't received an answer yet. He must be busy. I was a little bummed as I had proposed we'd go watch a movie together. I wanted to get to know him a little more. Maybe a college student's like a child to him. Yeah, maybe he doesn't like me. It's like, if he really is like even 26 or 28, college student 26, it's only like a 6 to 8 year difference, which isn't a lot when you're like 30 and 40, but when you're 20 and almost 30, that's a huge fucking difference. Like, it really is. Like, age differences, like, large age gaps start being problematic the older you get, because you're kind of like, you've been there, done that kind of shit. But when you're like 20, it's a big fucking deal. Like, like, I've been there, I've been 20. But, like, you're still kind of a baby. No offense to anyone who's, like, 20. You're like a baby. You think, I'm like an adult. Like, but you're like a baby adult. Like, and when you get 25 and you're getting closer to 30, you're like, oh, yeah. Like, it's totally different being 28 than being 20. Like, you're in totally different places. And hell, even, like, when you're 30 and 38, you could be in vastly different places. You can be in similar places. But you have a better chance of being in a similar place in life or having experienced more similar things at 30 and 38 than you do at 20 and 28. Like, 20, you're like, I'm in college! Woo! Next year I get to drink, bitches! And then, like, at 30, you're like, fuck this shit. Oh my god, being an adult sucks. Am I dead yet? Like, you're like, oh, middle age is right around the corner. Like, I don't know. And like 28, you're like, oh, the slow decline to 30 is coming. Don't worry about the slow decline to 30. Worry about the fast approach, the fast train to 40. That shit. Yeah. But you know what I mean? Like, I don't know. Like, it is vastly different. Like, mid to late 20s, you start getting to the point where you're like, okay. And that's when you're like, oh, yeah. I still think people who are like 25 are babies. Like, oh my god, you're like still cute. But you're like, baby, you're still baby adults to me because I'm fucking old as shit. But you're more adulty adults. It's just weird when you see 25-year-olds doing shit like buying houses and stuff, and you're like, I just stop it. I'm too old. Oh god, wait. Let me get my walker. I just, no. It hurts because then it just reminds me how fucking old I am. But like, I mean, it's not saying that you can't be like 20 and like you have kids or like you're buying a house or you're doing responsible adult things. But even still, when you're doing those, there's just something about it that just, it's like, that's cute sport. Like, I don't know. I mean, most of the time you're not. Like, most early 20s are not like buying houses, having babies. That's like you start getting your mid to late, that's when it's starting to happen. Like, yes, it was different back in like the 50s when you were like 20 and had 2 kids and like a house and all that shit. But shit's different now. Nobody can afford that crap now. Give me a break.
You're like, I mean, yes, I have a house, but I live with my mom and my grandma and my great-grandparents and my sister and my cousins and my sister's brother's cousins, uncle's dog, sister's twice removed, whatever. And there's like 30 people in this house because that's the only way you can afford a house.
Or gas. Oh, good lord. Anyway. But like, yeah. So that's what kind of weirds me out when it's like, I'm like 20 in college. Like, you should, but you're just still like a baby adult. It's still like you're barely out of your teens, for God's sake. So I don't know. Like, a guy who's close to 30 and like a 20-year-old girl is a little weird. I don't know. 10 years, call me. And then it's like, okay, yeah, that doesn't bother me. And it's like 30 and he's 38. Sure. Whatever. Fine. Yeah. But 20 and 20, makes me slightly feel a little weird. I know it's a game and it's not real, but I sometimes can't disassociate. Sometimes I can easily disassociate reality from fantasy. Like, I'm easily disassociate myself from reality, and other times it just slaps you in the face like this, where you're like, no, I feel slightly uncomfortable. Anyway. Maybe he doesn't like me. The opposite problem, actually. Not like I confessed to him yet, but perhaps he got bored of me already. I sighed as I looked at my phone and noticed an online ad. An urban legend about dreams? I tapped on it to take a look, and it mentioned an urban legend based specifically in Los York. Apparently, there's been a surge in dreams that are better than reality, according to the people having them. Ellen! And Clarice. The dreams are so wonderful. They never betray you, and they always show you at your very best. My dreams betray me when I wake up and I realize that they're not true. Rude! Huh? What was that? My heart was pounding, and I carefully looked at my phone. A strange sense of awkwardness, of deja vu. What was going on? Huh. I touched my neck and felt something metallic. When I looked down, I saw I was wearing a necklace with some kind of bow and arrow design. Oh, no! Huh. What is this necklace? I tried to take it off, but I couldn't. Oh, no! Huh. It won't come off. Seriously, what on earth is going on? What was it? Where did it come from? I was lost in a complete mystery, and now she has our necklace back. Well, I guess it's fine for now. I mean, it is pretty cute after all. Maybe it's just the clasp being difficult. I'll ask Clarice to take it off for me later. Oh yeah, do, good. I touched the necklace with my fingertips. It felt strangely familiar. Alan does a lot of sighing in this part.
I sigh as I glance at my phone. This entire past week I haven't responded to a single message from her since we went our separate ways. But I'm always by her side, hiding on rooftops, watching from a distance.
So it's interesting that now we've got our necklace back, but Juno has also disappeared. So where's Juno?
So I know she's sad that I didn't respond. Ignoring her is the most heartbreaking thing I've ever had to do.
Aside from sitting there watching her, because you can't let your love go and stop loving someone when you're constantly, like, watching them.
I hope she can become closer to Gil or Austin soon, so she can forget about me. Maybe I could enter her dreams as an incubus. No, that's no good. An incubus appears as the person that the target loves. If she doesn't love either of them already, then I wouldn't be able to take their form. Matchmaking's so difficult. After all my efforts, I found myself admiring her ability to connect people. When she worked at Cupid course, she never used her divine artifact, and still had no trouble with matching people up. I recalled wanting to copy her methods, which reminded me to see how she was doing. When I saw her, I felt my heart drop. What? He sees a necklace. Somehow her Cupid's bow pendant was back around her neck. But why? She's a human right now. There can be only one reason. There can only be one reason. I read that wrong. She touched me, so her memories of the past are coming back. If her previous soul keeps getting stronger, she'll become a god again. I have to stop that from happening.
Are you gonna stab me again? This is gonna be kind of fun if we keep doing this.
I should seal away her memories before getting her to fall in love with someone. But how to do that? I can probably find some info about it in the Book of Vanquishing. The Book of Vanquishing was written by a truly powerful demon about the gods themselves. It was written in the hopes of someday getting revenge on the gods, so there must be something about erasing a god's memory. But I can only read it in my demon form, and only when I'm alone. I've been committing sins to help speed things along. But I'll have to return to the underworld, too. And the book can't be taken to any other realm. Just hold on, Spacey. I'll find a way to make you forget about me.
Oh, and while you're gone, all shit's gonna break loose. You know all hell's gonna break loose now.
I'll erase your memories of guilty and try to cover up your godly soul with that of a human. And then everything can go back to the way it's supposed to be.
Or you could just stab us again and try that. Bring up, redo the whole 30 life. He's like, I've been trying so hard, and every time you look the same and your name is Spacey and you keep remembering. Could you stop? It's kind of cool. I feel like this has been like multiple movies and books. Like, probably a couple of animes. I mean, I feel like this is not an uncommon, like, where you've heard it before. We're like, oh, reincarnation, and then, like, there's always, like, it's probably not as prevalent, but I feel like there's been at least multiple that I've seen or heard. Like, I don't know about in games, but definitely in movies. Not recently, though. I feel like they were older movies, but anyway.
I need to make up for all of my stupid mistakes. I'll have to ask Clarice to keep an eye on her when I'm not around. She might complain, but even then, she's always been willing to help when it comes to her. Probably because they really are friends. Anyway, I need to hurry back to the underworld before it's too late. I unleashed my full power as a demon. It was time to leave her side and head off to the underworld.
It must be slightly cold in the winter when you don't have a shirt on as a demon. I'm just saying. One day during a seminar, I blinked when I saw the form the professor had handed out. A seminar trip? Yes, we'll be going to Greece, a country full of ancient artifacts and ruins. I see. By joining this seminar, I get to go on such an amazing trip. I'm so looking forward to this. Gil, Austin, and Clarice aren't in the seminar, so it's a little sad, but I'm still excited to go. My first seminar trip will be a good opportunity to get to know my classmates. Yes, I've always wanted to go swimming in the ocean. Hey, we're going for research purposes, not so you can have a vacation. Yeah, she's right, though it is Greece, so it won't hurt to bring your swimsuits. Professor says it's okay. Let's go to the beach during our free time. The beach? Looking at my phone again and seeing the lack of responses hurt my heart. Guilty was so caring and kind at the beach date. I wonder what he's doing right now. Trying to find a way to make you forget him.
I bought some sandwiches. You're hungry, right? You want me to go buy some coffee? Oh, but I can't leave you alone. Has anything been bothering you lately? Okay, good to hear.
It would have been funny if you had a memory of him stabbing you and you were like, wait, that didn't happen. But wait. He really took care of me. I really don't want to think he doesn't like me anymore. I don't know where he works or lives, so there's no way for me to see him. My heart hurt realizing what a distant figure he'd become. It would be best if I could just forget about him. But I'm not ready to give up just yet. Maybe if I bought him something special from Greece. Could that do the trick? Or maybe this is all one big nuisance for him. I just can't figure out how he feels. It'd be so much easier if he could just tell me that I'm bothering him. Tell me if I'm bothering him. I looked around and saw everyone discussing the trip. I tried to shove my feelings deep down inside and join the conversation.
As soon as I returned to the underworld, I headed to where the Book of Vanquishing was stored. I flapped my wing, looked around, and sighed.
Of course. When this point of this part popped up, I was like, is he going to sigh again? But he mentioned that he sighed. He's done nothing but sigh.
The air here matches me well. I hate that fact. When I first came here, I was disgusted by the smell of rot permeating throughout, but now it's the best place for my body to rest. And that's why I didn't want to go back here, because it'd be a disgusting reminder that I don't live in the same place she lives. I need to hurry up and read it. I'm getting more concerned about her. I asked Clarice to look after her, but I'm still worried. The Book of Vanquishing has existed for tens of thousands of years, and there are dozens of different editions. It's also written in a demonic language, so it's a challenge to read. I wish I was able to take it with me. Suddenly I smelled a scent that was wholly unfamiliar to me. What is this? I sense something strange.
Juno?
The scent was similar to that of a god, and then it faded away. Did a god come through here? No, it seems to have vanished. I felt a creeping, chilling sensation in my neck. It was like something was watching me. Then the unwelcome feeling disappeared quickly. Is it just my imagination? I looked around, saw a goat's horn and lit fire.
A goat's horn and a lit fire.
Ah, almost time for a Sabbath. I should leave before it starts. During a Sabbath, the darkness of this world becomes even stronger, and the power of the gods wane while the demons come into their own. The border between the living and the dead becomes thinner. Some know it as Walpurgis Night? With the Sabbath drawing near, I can't help but worry about leaving her side. But she has her bracelet and Clarice to watch over her. I'm sure she'll be fine.
I'm sure we'll not be fine just because you said that.
I keep telling myself that, but I still have the intense urge to return to the human realm. I clasp my hands together and look out at the library. Don't let yourself be blinded by emotion, Alan Melville. As long as you return before the Sabbath, everything will be fine. I repress the urge to return that instant and head toward the library. The most important thing is for me to erase her memories.
Juno's watching you. A few days later, everyone from the seminar came to Greece. Wow, such a beautiful sea. Feels good. Greece is awesome. Yeah. I'm walking down the streets of Greece with my new friends from the seminar. I want to hurry up and go swim at the beach. We'll have to wait until day 3 when we're finally free. We'll first head to Parmington Temple. Make sure to check out all the artifacts there. It'd be so funny. Parmesan Temple. If you didn't bring any shoes for long walks, then make sure to buy them now. Okay! We began walking toward Parmesan Temple. Parmesan? Weird fancy? I don't know. Feeling the wind in a new country for the first time, I was overwhelmed by everything. Wow, amazing! It's so different from Lost York. Even the sea, the color is different. Greece's sea was cobalt blue. Suddenly I felt a sharp pain deep within my heart. Greece's sea is beautiful, but I honestly preferred the memory of my beach date with Guilty. When I see the sea, it reminds me of him. I was completely and seriously in love. Hey, we were here with Raoul. It's funny because it's not like she's going to remember that because it was a different, timeline route. So we'd arrived at Parmesan Temple. I'm going to go with that. It sounds fancier. Parmesan. Everyone, please observe this pillar. Notice the Doric design at the base. The goddess Athena was worshipped here, also known as Minerva. And now she's like, I wanted you to picture your Auntie Minerva. I grimaced as a sudden headache shot through my skull. I felt a similar pain during a discussion at the seminar. What was that? I'm almost able to remember something. Are you okay? Maybe you're tired from jet lag. Yeah, maybe. She must be right. I think it's jet lag. But looking out at the temple was making me feel worried. I reached up to touch my necklace. I need to hurry. But hurry to what? My memories are getting all mixed up. I feel like I can hardly catch my breath. I need to just concentrate on the professor's lecture. I shook my head to clear it and tried to focus on the professor. But then I look at the temple again and I got restless all over again. I couldn't concentrate on the tour at all. Hey, where is she? You haven't heard? She went to Greece for a seminar trip. Huh? Seminar trip? She went to Greece? No, wait, she went there alone? I need to go after her. I was asked to watch her. Maybe that's why you should have been our roommate this time, Clarice. During free time on the third day. Oh no, we're gonna drown. I was walking around the city in Greece. Everybody else is at the beach. I declined to go and came to the city instead. I wanted to keep my memories of guilty within me a little longer. I was afraid that if I went, I'd overwrite my memories of him in the sea. That's why I didn't go. Besides, I might drown again. My time at the ocean was incident-free because guilty was there. I truly believed that, and I believe that also. Perhaps it can all be chalked up to coincidence, but it was a fact that something would always happen to me when I swam. Well, because you always took your bracelet off. Oh, that mug over there is cute. If I bought it for him as a gift, would he like it? I walk around the city looking for souvenirs. That earring is cute too. Wonder if it'll look good on me. I took the earring and found a nearby mirror to check my reflection. Then realized my necklace was missing. Hey, it's gone again. I felt around my neck and couldn't find it. The weird necklace was gone as quick as it had appeared. Oh, interesting. So strange. Comes and goes like a light bulb about to go out. In recent days, there were times when the necklace would be around my neck, and other times when it wouldn't. It was like someone was flipping a switch to make it appear and disappear. This was why I hadn't been able to show it to Clarice yet. Whenever I tried to ask her to help me take it off, it'd be gone. Maybe I'm just tired. I might just be seeing things. Maybe perhaps the necklace never existed. I bumped into someone and nearly fell over. I somehow managed to catch myself from falling, but... Huh? My rubber bracelet must have caught on the person's clothing as it snapped off my wrist. Oh no, we're fucked. I was actually wondering when we bumped into someone, I was like, oh my god, it's going to be one of the Parasite 5, but 20 years later, and we're going to be like, you look so familiar. Fucking Ryuki. A 39-year-old Ryuki? Because he was like 19. Oh my god. He probably looks exactly the same. The cobalt blue and white bands fell all over the ground. You've got to be kidding! I need to hurry and gather them! This is my precious bracelet I had since childhood. I can't let go of it just because it ripped. Besides, Guilty warned me that I should always wear it, and even kissed it. I was hurrying to pick up the pieces, but there was something off about the person who bumped me. He had eerie eyes. He broke it. Something's wrong with that person. As if he's possessed. Then suddenly a strong wind blew, and I was knocked to the ground. Ugh! My shoulder hit the ground, knocking the wind out of me. I raised my face into a blast of wind and froze. I saw the same dark cloud that I'd seen before in the water. But no, this was different. It wasn't just a cloud.
Ah, his stink is finally gone.
From out of the dark cloud came... It was a demon straight out of a horror movie. Huh?
I was finally able to break it using a human of all things. Man, what a pain. But now I can finally deliver you to our Sabbath.
No! I got up and started running as fast as I could. But the demon was hot on my heels. What does that thing mean, Sabbath? I had to find somewhere to run to. But where? If it really was a demon, then maybe a church? But why am I suddenly being attacked? I didn't have a clue. I did know, however, that it was all over if I got caught. I need to hurry. I need to hurry up and run.
Ha! You can't escape from us. We've been waiting for this opportunity for years. It was an opportunity we couldn't miss. You better give up.
Too many demons. Too many demons! I was surrounded by a trio of demons. There was nowhere for me to run. Look, a trio of demons is 3 demons too many, okay? They reached out for me, and suddenly the ground split and opened up. Deep within the rift, I saw a horrifying scene. It was a world without hope, a world that smelled like burning and death. Hell, the inferno, the underworld, all these names came to mind. A throng of hands appeared and grabbed my legs. They started dragging me down into the ground. No, no! Someone help me! Guilty! There was nobody to hear my screams. The world I knew slowly grew more and more distant. In the end, I'd finally been captured by the dark cloud that I'd spent so much of my life fearing and running from. In a last-ditch effort, I tried clinging to the stone street, but I was no match for the 3 demons, and I was dragged down into the depths. I mean, this took a turn. Where am I? The demons were quickly hauling me away. I didn't know where I was, but what I did know is it was the birthplace of that dark cloud. Torches had been lit, goats had been sacrificed. I learned about this in history class. A Sabbath, a meeting of demons. But I thought that was just some made-up fantasy story. Everything I thought I knew about truth in the past was crumbling in front of me. The screams and shouts of demons were all around me. There were at least 10 of them in total.
Nobody's going to bother us here.
Now then, give me your soul. It has the most delicious hue to it, you see. I can't wait to find out how it tastes.
Grandma Spacey is a demon. The demon bared its fangs and reached out toward me. No, please! I wanted to fend them off, but my arms and legs were held tight. I couldn't move a muscle. Their long claws were primed to tear my clothes apart. Their disgusting tongues, their fangs sharper than any wolf's, came slowly closer. I'm going to die. I'm going to be devoured whole. Ah! I'm going to assume that even though I hate the fact that they do it like this, like, oh, you don't know who it is. Well, you wouldn't unless you like had the original name, right? I'm going to assume it's Alan and not Clarice, even though it's pink. I hate that. It's pink. Then you think it's Clarice, but it's not Clarice anyway. Spacey! Huh? Just before the fangs could sink into my flesh, I felt the embrace of a pair of warm hands. These hands... I mean, he was already here. It wouldn't, you know what I mean? It would make more sense. I know these hands. They belong to Guilty. Be gone!
What are you doing here?
Damn it, we earned this! I don't care who you think you are. You can't have her. How dare you try to hog such a tasty snack all for yourself? I'm a tasty snack. Thanks, demon number 3.
Anyway.
Did you not hear me? I said get lost.
The voice that we gave Alan doesn't go well with being like, a demon, let's get lost. What? Like, the voice itself was low and calm. But his anger rippled through the air, spreading across the area. The other demons gnashed their teeth and eventually slinked away without further confrontation.
And that's why I was avoiding you. What happened to your bracelet?
Then it was just me and him. Before me stood a demon. Fierce winds howled all around us. What are you doing here? What are you?
I'm sorry. I'm afraid you must have me mistaken with someone else. Oh, you've never met.
That's a load of bullshit, Alan. Wait, what? He stared at me with ice-cold eyes, but beneath the cool gaze was a sign of deep relief. Even 100 horns and wings couldn't disguise that sparkle in his eyes. It was the same glint I saw in the person that rescued me at the pool and took me to the beach. It was Guilty standing before me, or Alan.
A human like you can't stay here. You need to head back to your world. Come, hold on tight.
Guilty lifted me up, then launched us both into the air. Guilty, no, that's not your real name. I'm sure he has another name, but it wasn't coming to me. Who are you really? Who have you been all this time? The question that will get answered in the next part. So anyway, I think it's funny. He's like, you must have me confused with someone else. Oh, Kinder than anyone. Oh, new chapter. So we'll start the new chapter. It's funny. He's like, you have me confused with someone else. We've never met. And she's like, that's a load of shit. I recognize that look in your eyes. And that's actually kind of cute. And he's like, what? You don't know me. And she's like, yes, I do. Like, if she said that out loud, I think his heart would have stopped. He'd have been like, oh. And then she's not even afraid of him. It's not like, it's a dimwit. I know you. It's like, oh, cool. Thanks for saving me. And he's like, aren't you scared? She's like, no, because I love you. It's weird. Like, it's fucking cute. Anyway, I will see you guys next time. Remember to give the video a big thumbs up and subscribe to see more.